Our today's topic is reproduction in organisms. We know that all the individuals are mortal except the single-celled organisms. So, the period from birth to natural death of an organism is called its lifespan. Now, the lifespan of the organism is not correlated with the size of an organism. It may be as short as few days, like for butterflies it survives for only 1 to 2 weeks, and the lifespan may be as long as a few thousand years. Like in banyan tree, it survives for 200 years. Now, we said that the lifespan does not correlate with the size of an organism. If we take the example of tortoise are small in size but they live for 150 years. But if we take the example of elephant, they are big but they live for 60 years only. So if we compare them, then we can know that lifespan does not correlate with the size of an organism. Now we said that except single-celled organisms, all individuals are mortal. So why the single-celled organisms are not mortal? The reason behind this is a single-celled organism keeps on dividing into two by asexual reproduction. What is asexual reproduction? We'll know in our next chapter or next topic. Asexual reproduction is dividing of one cell into two cells. So, single-celled organisms, they only reproduce asexually and they don't die naturally. They only divide. So, the answer is a single-celled organism keeps on dividing into two by asexual reproduction. So, at the end of their life cycle, they simply divide and not die naturally. Now the question is, if every organism in the nature is mortal or they die after some time, then if we take the example of human, we know in whole world the human population is increasing day by day. Now the question is, if the humans are mortal, then how the population of human is increasing day by day? The answer is, every organism produces its own offspring. What is own offspring? Their own children or progeny. Like if we take the example of a tree, the tree is growing from the seeds of its own parent. Like if today we get some seeds of mango and we plant them, after some day new seedlings of mango tree will grow. So this is the progeny of the parent mango tree. So every organism produces its own offspring. Now what is the process? The process is called reproduction. So what is reproduction? A biological process in which an organism gives rise to young ones or offspring similar to itself. Why it is called similar? Like if you take the example of yourself, you are similar with your parents, like you are similar with your mother and father, your face is similar with their faces. So every organism produces their own kind or their young ones similar to them. Now, what is the importance of reproduction? The importance of reproduction is reproduction enables the continuity of species generation after generation. Now what does this mean? What is continuity of species? Now let us see what is species. Species in simple The simple meaning of species is particular type of individual. Now through reproduction, one organism produces its own offspring. So if we take the example of humans, then present day we see that we humans are present on the earth, but 100 years ago also, like our grandparents and great grandparents, they were present on the earth. And through reproduction, the continuity of the human beings or a particular species is existed on the earth. The question may arise into your mind that what is the time of reproduction? Can an organism reproduce after its birth? Or at what time an organism starts reproducing? So here you can see the picture. An organism right after birth, they cannot reproduce. They have to attain a certain growth so that they can reproduce. And after certain time, after completing the lifespan, there is death. So this is a cycle. Do all organisms reproduce in a similar way? No. Why? Because the type of reproduction is determined by several factors. Now we'll see what are those factors. There are 3 factors mainly. The first factor is organisms' habitat. Organisms' habitat affect the reproduction of the organism. Now, what is habitat? Habitat is the environment or the place where the particular organism live. The second factor is internal physiology of the organism. The main is the reproductive system of an organism. It affects the reproduction of the organism. The third is other factors like the availability of the partner in that particular space. Our next subtopic is types of reproduction. Based on whether there is participation of one organism, that is one parent, or two organisms or two parents like father and mother in case of humans in the process of reproduction. So based on the participation of the number of organisms, there are mainly 2 types of reproduction. The first one is sexual reproduction and the second one is asexual reproduction. What is sexual reproduction? The type of reproduction where 2 organisms participate in the reproduction process is called sexual reproduction. Example is human, where male and female participate in the reproduction to give birth a new progeny or newborn baby. The second type of reproduction is asexual reproduction. What is asexual reproduction? The type of reproduction where single organism or single parent participate in reproduction process is called asexual reproduction. The example is yeast cell, and the yeast cell is single celled organism, and we discussed before that single celled organisms are called immortal because they reproduce through asexual reproduction. Thank you for watching the video. If this video was helpful for you, then please like and share with your friends. Also, if you have any doubts, then you can write your comments and don't forget to subscribe the channel.